Okay, so who is in charge of your opening prayer? Okay, Dr. Patricia, are you the one in charge?
Yes po. Good afternoon po.
Okay.
Okay guys, let's pray.
Father and Son of the Holy Spirit.
Heavenly Father, we thank you for this new day and the chance to learn together. Bless our teachers who guide us and bless us, students, so we may listen well, work hard, and grow in wisdom. May everything we do today be for your glory. Amen. In the name of the Father, and of the Son, and of the Holy Spirit. Amen.
Okay, so good afternoon everyone. How are you? So medyo nakaka-adjust na ba ang ating mga medical student? No? So this is the third week of your class and still you are having online classes. But starting next week, you'll be having your face-to-face class, no? So please take note of your schedule by next week. The dean will meet you on Monday with the neurovascular structures of the upper extremities. And then do not forget that you have your quiz, no? So you will be having your first quiz that will be on Wednesday morning. Okay. So we will meet in the classroom for the first quiz and then continue with the dissection. Now, at present, the cadavers are not being delivered yet. So we are going to use the cadavers that we used last year. No, they are still dissectable. No, and all of the students will be able to appreciate. Okay, will be able to appreciate the cadavers. So if I think the schedule of the students, or I mean the final list of the students are already final, then we could divide the class into how many are you right now, class? The current number of students, 43, 43 ba?
40 po yata, Dok.
40 kasi meron yatang nag-drop na dalawa, no? Okay, so let me see, and then I will be posting the groupings, no? Kasi currently, we have two cadavers in the lab. So kung 40 kayo, if the new cadavers are not delivered yet, then for next week, you will be divided first into two groups. Okay? Now, I think Greg sent me message. Ikaw ba yung nag-message, Greg, asking
Yes, Doc.
Students regarding the dissecting set? If I will be to ask, no, it's better to have your own, no, para hindi kayo nang hihirang pagdating sa dissecting room. Although the cadavers that we have right now are already pre-dissected. Okay, so medyo madali ang pag-identify. The only thing is for you to understand, no, and know how is the dissection or cutting of the skin should be done. Okay, so that is the very important thing that you need to take note when you are in the lab. And please, you need to exercise etiquette. No, there are some rules that you need to understand and take note when you are in the lab. Okay. So, if in the lab, like for example, if the whole of the Wednesday will be dissection, because after which is another online, so we are going to maximize everything, no, in the lab on Wednesday. So we are going to the first thing that you are going to do in the lab is to study the boats, no, for the first hour. So after your quiz, no, your quiz will be 8 to 8:30, isn't it? That is in the schedule. So we were already instructed that all exams, whether quiz, whether it is practical, and whether it's long exams, are all face to face. Okay. So at 8, you should be in the classroom because the quiz will start at 8 and then it will end at 8:30. So it will be a face-to-face quiz. And then immediately after the quiz, you proceed to the anatomy dissection room. The anatomy dissection room is on the ground floor, no, the small building at the back of the gym, no. Di ba ang College of Medicine merong katabing gym na open na may covered court. Yung parang bahay na katabi at the back of that gym is the anatomy dissection room. Okay, so you are going to proceed there. And you need to bring your, as I said, no, during the orientation, you need to have your lab gown. Okay, so since I think you are going to, I think the university will provide the scrub suit, no? But since the scrub suits are not yet available, so you need to bring any gowns that you have when you are in the pre-med. No, pwede yung mga lab gown na ginamit ninyo when you were in the pre-med habang wala pa yung dissection suit or yung inyong scrub suit. And then, as I said, yung mga students with long hair, okay, should wear a cap, no? May mga disposable cap na nabibili sa labas. Or kung meron kayong cap before, para yung inyong buhok will not touch the cadavers, no? It's very difficult naman na habang nagdadisect kayo, nakalaylay ang buhok ninyo, tapos yung pala, dumidikit na pala sa patay. Okay, so you need to brush up and put that cap or any cap that you have, that you were using before. And then bring gloves, no? The gloves are not necessarily, should not be necessarily sterile, no? Yung mga gloves lang. What we usually advise our students is pwede kayong mag-share, and then mayroong nabibiling per box, no? Mga per box na gloves. So hindi kailangan, it's not necessarily that the gloves should be sterile kasi you're going to dissect naman on a cadaver. Hindi naman yung mag-ooperate ka or when you are assisting in the operating room. Okay? So, and then, any history of allergy class? Meron bang history sa allergy, specifically sa food and any chemicals? If you are, kindly bring a medical certificate or anything, that will show you that you are allergic. Otherwise, if you are allergic, then how can you dissect cadavers? No? Because remember that cadavers are immersed. They are immersed in formalin, no? So there are chemicals there. Okay? So please take note of this. And then if you think you will not be able to tolerate the smell, okay, the smell of the lab, then you can wear your mask. Okay? Para medyo ma-neutralize ng konti yung smell ng patay. Okay, do you have any more questions before we begin? Okay, so please maintain your video cam on so that because in the second part, it will be about radioanatomy. So when we say radioanatomy, I'm not only discussing with you the radiologic part, but when you say radioanatomy, we are going to discuss some of the different features, okay, of the upper extremity, specifically the bones. Okay, so the bones were discussed last Monday by Dr. Hakub, and the muscles. Okay, so let me share my PPT. So I'll be using the entire screen. Okay, so can everybody see the PowerPoints? And can you hear me very loud, class? Can you hear me? Can you hear?
Yes, Doc.
And how about the PowerPoint? You can see them or you can see it? Can you see the PowerPoint?
We can see it, Doc.
Huh? You can
We
see
can see
it?
it, Doc.
Yes, po.
Yes po.
Okay. Okay. Okay, so our first discussion is about basic radiology. So the first thing that you need to understand here, class, is how come now when we expose ourselves to radiation, there could be some side effect or any radiation, or when there is a radiation technique, we will be able to obtain a shadow of the different parts of the human body depending on what radiologic tube is being requested or is being requested, okay, or is requested. So in this study, you will know what are the different types of radiologic examination, okay, that usually, okay, when you are a doctor already, is the first type of examination that you need to request. In cases, some problems arises, like for example, the patient has a history of vehicular accident. So what will be the first radiologic image or imaging modality that you are going to request? Okay. Remember, class, that in cases, okay, in a patient, or when you are having your patients already, specifically when you are already a full-fledged physician, you don't usually request all of the imaging modalities, okay, that you know. You are going to prioritize, okay, you are going to prioritize which specific imaging modality should fit, okay, should fit to the problem of the patient. Okay, so always the basic radiologic technique, which is your radiologic imaging, is your first priority or the initial procedure that you are going to request. Specifically, if you are dealing with the musculoskeletal system. Okay, and then in cases when your request, okay, of the radiologic technique or the radiologic image could not confirm whether the patient has a fracture or any torn ligaments, okay, with your patient, then which next imaging procedure you are going to request, no? Ano yung kasunod? Is it CT scan or is it magnetic resonance imaging? Okay, and then when it comes to ultrasound, no? In the study of the imaging of the musculoskeletal system, you don't usually request for an ultrasound, okay? Because ultrasound is only requested for patients, like for example, you are contemplating or okay, your patient is suffering, let's say for example, for swelling of the, let's say for example, the knee, no? So remember that ultrasound could be requested in cases when there are some accumulation of fluid among synovial joints. Okay, so that is the only time that you are going to request for an ultrasound. But generally, no, um, you are going to take note of which comes first. Are you going to request for a CT scan or the computed tomography scan, or are you going to request for magnetic resonance imaging? Okay, so I told you, class, that the reference book for radioanatomy is the textbook Radiology 101, The Basic and Fundamentals of Imaging by Wilbur Smith. And you can also obtain the Fundamentals of Diagnostic Radiology, FEP edition, or if there is already a newer edition, then you can obtain, whose author is Klein, J.S. et al., Brandt, and Holmes. Okay? So please take note of this radiology. Remember, class, that every region that we are going to discuss, there is always radioanatomy. So knowing the study on radiology should be given some priorities also when it comes to okay, increasing the knowledge that you will have upon or when you graduated from the College of Medicine. So our main objective here is the student must be at least be able to demonstrate the elementary physics of radiologic diagnostic imaging. So this is the objective that we are going to task this afternoon. So after the study on basic radiology, then we will proceed with the radioanatomy of the upper extremities. Okay, so when was the initial invention of the Roentgen, or the Roentgen radiology? So it was, or it started in 1895, by Wilhelm Roentgen, whose hand has a problem, or his wife has a problem with her hand. So he tried, the Roentgen tried to do the first X-ray film image of his wife's hand. And from that, he was able to take note that Roentgen imaging or imaging, Roentgen imaging could show, the bones of the hands of his wife. Okay, so that was the beginning of the conventional radiography. Okay, if you're going to look at the radiation or radiology class or radiography, how is the image being generated? Okay, how is the image being generated in radiographic imaging? So you need to take note that X-rays, arises from radiant energy, and remember that this radiant energy is similar to the visible light. Okay, so they are form of short wavelength that could penetrate, opaque substances like the muscles and the bones, so that in the radiographic imaging, you'll be able to visualize the shadow of the bones. And you are going to see the color of the bones, which are white in color or whitish in color, and the muscles are gray in color. And then the X-ray beam, which is one of the component, of the basic, X-ray apparatus, consists of an X-ray beam. So this X-ray beam is the one that produces the tungsten target with an electron beam within the X-ray tube. So remember that I'm assuming that all of you saw already, a produces this X-ray beam. Okay, so this X-ray beam within your X-ray tube is one of the most important part of the X-ray machine. Okay, so when you speak of the conventional film radiography, this procedure, which is the conventional film radiography class, utilizes a screen film system. If you're going to look at the radiology department, when you enter the radiology department, you will see that a film is being inserted to the X-ray plate, to that X-ray plate. And remember that when you put that X-ray plate, in the in that cassette, in that film cassette, you're going to insert that X-ray plate in a dark room. Dapat walang light. Because this conventional film radiography, as I said, usually utilizes the screen film system. Okay? And then this X-ray will pass the human body, which was attenuated by the interaction between the body tissues, and produce image pattern on the film. Okay? And then the X-ray will be transmitted through the patient, the fluorescent particle-coated screen within the film cassette, which cause photochemical reaction that emit the light rays, and then it will expose photographic film within the cassette. So in that cassette, as I said, is the film, so you insert and put the film inside the dark room of the radiology department, and then put in whichever position or location, you requested, So this is how are you going to look at the conventional film radiography. So, as I said, no, the conventional film radiography utilizes the film. And then after your procedure, okay, you again go back to the dark room and remove the film from the cassette. And then you are going to put or place this radiographic film in an automated chemical film processor. Okay, so that after uh, the technique, okay, or after the process, okay, exposing your film from the cassette, okay, you will see that there is an image. Okay, the image, if you want to look at the image of the bones. So how are you going to look at the different parts of the uh, cassette, okay, of the cassette, okay, where you put the film? So you have the two block structure, which is your the cassette front and the cassette back. And then you have your screen support here. So you have your screen support, and then you have your fluorescent screen, and then this is your X-ray film. Okay? So the layers of the content of your cassette is the same thing what you see from the cassette front and the cassette back. Okay? But there is a padding material, okay, on the cassette back. Okay? So these are your screen support. So this is how are you going to, or where you are going to put the film in your cassette. Okay, so if you're going to look, oh, so this is your X-ray machine where you have your X-ray tube, and then this is the X-ray beam produced by the X-ray tube, and then this is your patient, and then this is your cassette where the film is inserted. Okay, so it will be depending on the what view you want to request, whether it is an AP view, anterior-posterior view, or whether you want to have a anterior-posterior or posterior-inferior, or you could have also a lateral view, or you have your oblique view. So if you're going to look at this image on the right side of your slide, okay, so you will see the supine film, okay, wherein the supine film, pagka sinabi rin yung supine film, it is about the radiographic picture of the abdomen, okay? So you are, this is one of the requests, okay, that you will understand as we go along the study of radioanatomy and radiology, okay? So this is just a normal picture to show you the different parts of the image that you see in a radiographic film of the abdomen or the supine film. Okay? So, when you are going to take note on what are some of the very important concerns about radiography, remember that among most clinicians, when you're already sitting in your clinic, okay, the radiography is one of the most common imaging consultation that is being requested, no? So after the request, like for example, you're a pediatrician, the patient comes to you, okay, with cough, no, pediatric patient, the patient has fever and cough. You request urinalysis as the first, and then of course CBC, and then what will be the next procedure that you are going to use or request? You are going to request for a radiographic imaging of the chest of the patient. So it will be depending on what view you want it. Is it PA view or an AP view? Okay. So you need to remember, class, that since you are now a medical student, okay, do not refer radiologic film as X-ray. Okay. Pagka sinabi mo kasing X-ray, class, you are talking about the machine. So if you are a clerk at Bulacan Medical Center, BMC, and maybe a resident or an intern requested, you get the X-ray of this patient. Ang dalhin mo sa kanya yung the whole of the X-ray machine. Okay? Idalhin mo sa kanya yung X-ray machine. Baka hindi, maybe that one who commanded you to take the film, okay, does not know the difference between an X-ray and a radiographic film. Okay? So as of now, since you know already, so do not just say, pakikuha ang X-ray ng pasyente. Okay, so that is not appropriate. So it is either please get the radiographic film of the chest of this patient? Or can you get the radiographic image or radiographic film of the patient, okay, of the upper extremity of this patient? So do not address it as X-ray. Okay, so how are you going to do some request class, no? So it will be based according to the direction of the X-ray beam, okay? So you are going to address it as X-ray view, okay? X-ray view or radiographic view. So that is the most appropriate term. So in radiography, there are always four, okay, four imaging image or four view that you are going to request. You have your PA, which is the post-anterior view, the anterior-posterior view or the AP view, oblique view, and the lateral view. Now, you could also address class projection, posterior-anterior projection, and AP projection, oblique projection, or lateral projection. Okay? So this is how are you going to use it. And then later on, you will know, no, that if a request or in a request of a radiographic view or projection, no, it must always be a minimum of 2 imaging radiographic view. Okay, it's either you request for a PA and a lateral view, or an AP or an oblique view, or a PA and an oblique view. Why? Why do you need to take note of this one class? Because there are some image, okay, that will not be seen, no? Like for example, the patient has a fracture. So there are some imaging view, okay, wherein the fracture could not be seen, okay? So let's say, for example, you requested for a PA view, but you cannot see and confirm that the patient has fracture, okay? So you need to request whether it's a PA lateral, which is the two most common imaging procedure, no? PA and the lateral view. Because there are some, as I said, shadow that could not be seen alone if it is in a PA or an RT or an AP view. So you need to request the lateral view. So it means that if the film or the problem or a fracture is not seen in a PA or an AP view, we expect or assume that it could be seen in your lateral view. So the oblique view is not always being requested class. Let's say, for example, okay, you requested for a PA and lateral. Okay? Bakit ganon? I'm suspecting that the patient has fracture of the anatomical neck. How come I cannot view the fracture? So maybe the oblique view could see it, okay? Or could view it, okay? So you can add your oblique view. Because you will know later that one film request is not a request or is not definite. So you must have at least 2 minimum or 2 maximum view or projection of the film that you are going to request. Okay? So you will know later which one is being prioritized, the PA view or the AP view. Okay, so this is how the PA, okay? So because when we speak of the basic, no, it is always the chest, okay? Radiographic imaging of the chest, okay, which is being one of the imaging that is model, no, the model of how are you going to request, no, for radiographic imaging. So if you're going to look for the request, okay, the patient has cough. The patient comes to you, the patient has cough. So the first thing that you are going to request class, okay, is posterior anterior view. So how are you going to patient? Remember that if you are a clerk class, so in your rotation is in the radiology department, okay, your consultant or the resident radiology resident will tell you, okay, can you position the patient? So if the request is the posterior anterior view, how are you going to position the patient? So this is how are you going to position your patient class. The patient's chest is pressed against the cassette. So this is the radiographic cassette. So this is usually posted on the wall, no? On the wall of the radiology department, or the where your X-ray or radiologic imaging equipment is found. Okay, so this is the wall. So this is the radiographic cassette, which is mounted, okay, to the um, okay, to that part where your radiographic cassette is being placed, and then this is the patient, no? So the patient's chest must be pressed against, against the cassette, and then take note that the hands must be placed on the both hips of the patient. So this is your X-ray tube, okay, which will be releasing your X-ray beam, okay? So this is how are you going to position your patient in a posterior-anterior projection. So this will indicate the central X-ray beam traveling from posterior to anterior. So from posterior to the anterior or back of the patient. Okay, it will be the beam here will be traversing the chest, okay, of your patient. Then how are you going to request if it is the lateral view? Okay, so you need to indicate right lateral view or the left lateral view. So if your request is the right lateral view, okay, this is how are you going to position the patient. Remember that this is the right side of the patient. The patient is fronting in front of you, no? So let's say you are positioned or you are standing in front of the patient. So the right side of the patient will be the one that will be closer to the beam, and then the left side is the one that is closer to the cassette recording or the cassette of the radiographic cassette. So this indicates X-ray beams traveling to the patient from one side to another side of the patient. So that is your lateral view. Now, how about the anterior-posterior? So when you are being asked, okay, position the patient in the AP view or AP projection. So this is how are you going to position your patient. The patient's back must be the one that is closer to the radiographic cassette, and then the XIB will be passing from the frontal side or anterior part of the patient to travel towards the back of the patient. So this is the standard portable technique with the patient sitting or supine. Now, you need to remember, class, that if the patient is ambulatory, pagka sinabi natin ambulatory, class, the patient could walk, no? So you can command the patient. You can go to the X-ray department for your radiographic imaging procedure. Okay. So if the patient is ambulatory, the request that you are going to do is the posterior anterior view, which is the more accurate in patient if the patients are ambulatory. But if the patients could not walk, okay, then it is better to request for an AP view because the patient could be placed as whether the patient is sitting or whether the patient is in supine. Okay? So, kapag ang patient is hindi siya nakakatayo, no, dumating siya in wheelchair, okay? So you could bring the patient with the wheelchair and ask the patient to sit on the radiographic table. And this is how are you going to position your patient. So kailan ginagamit yung supine, no? Remember, class, that most of the hospitals has this yung hindi siya the X-ray machine that could be brought everywhere, no? So this is the portable radiographic X-ray machine. Okay, so you could position the patient whether the patient is in sitting position or if the patient is inside the operating room, nag-request ka ng imaging procedure so that, let's say, for example, you are doing the surgery of the common bile duct, no? Wherein you are going to infuse some contrast medium in the common bile duct, okay? So you are going to request a patient, okay, AP view, okay, when the patient is in supine inside the operating room, or if the patient maybe is inside of the ICU, okay, and the patient could not be brought outside of the ICU intensive care unit. Okay, so AP projection is the best procedure that you are going to request, class. And to take note also that between your AP, no, as I said, if the patient is ambulatory, the PA view should always be requested, not the AP view. Okay, so please take note on this one. Okay, so what causes a structure to appear black, white, or gray on a radiograph? Okay, so you need to take note that the density of the object being imaged will determine how much of the X-ray beam will be absorbed or will be attenuated. Okay, so that there are different colors, okay, of the density, okay, that will be shown on the radiographic image film. So when is it or why is it okay that when you, for example, you requested for a chest X-ray, how come that the color of the lungs is seen as colored black? Okay, because the air, okay, will be appearing black in the X-ray film, okay, in the radiographic film. So that if you see something black in your radiographic image or radiographic film, then assume that it is air. Okay. Also, the fat is also colored black. And then, of course, the water density organ. What are your water density organ? Let's say the muscles. The muscles are said to be water density organs. So that's why the color of the muscles and the soft tissues are colored gray in the radiographic image. And also the urinary bladder. Let's say, for example, no, you want to see the pelvic view of your patient. Okay, why is it that if you are going to request for a radiographic film of the pelvis, okay, it is very important that you ask patient to drink water. Okay, to drink water, and then you will be asked, and the technician will tell you that okay, when pagka naiihi na po kayo, okay, lumapit po kayo sa akin. Ibig sabihin, kukunan ko na po kayo ng procedure, no? And it is also the instruction that is being given, okay, when you are to undergo ultrasound. The bladder must be full. What other organs or structure could be seen as colored gray in the radiographic film image? The solid organs, no? The solid organs also appears colored gray in the film. So you could see kidney, spleen, the pancreas, if you could view the pancreas as colored gray. Okay, so solid organs plus the water density organ like the urinary bladder are appear, okay, or they appear colored gray in the radiographic film image. And the presence of metal or bone, the metal or the bone and the metals are colored white. Okay, so whether they are stone, whether they are bones, or any metal, like for example, the patient had a fracture and underwent some ORIP, open reduction, okay, internal fixation, where metals were placed, okay, to stabilize the fracture of the bone, then you will see that the bones and metals and the stones, okay, like for example, gallbladder stone or kidney stones viewed as white in the radiographic imaging. Okay, so please take note of this one, class. This is very important. Dapat kasi, class, after your basic radio anatomy, no, pwede na kayo, you could already interpret, no? You could already interpret what you have seen at least in the machine. Ay, ito yung heart ng pasyente. Ay, lungs ito kasi this is colored black. Okay? Because it is colored black, because of the air. Okay? So that is how are you going at least, no? After your basic radiology, you could already interpret, no? So kaya pagdating mo sa bahay, if you have some film, okay, kunyari, mga previous chest X-ray ninyo or any imaging procedure that you have, you can get it and try to look at the different densities, okay, that will be shown in the radiographic film image, okay, so that you'll be able to determine, no, the four basic radiographic classifications, okay. So this is how is radiograph. Okay, so in your picture A, you will see here, okay, the level in the distal tie through which the X-ray beam is passing in picture B, okay. So this is the main site, maybe let's for example the physician, okay, is ruling out a fracture, okay, on the distal part of the femur. No, this is your femur, okay. Then how are you going to place it, okay, in the on the table of the page of the radiographic table, no? So it is shown in your picture B, the cross-section of the distal tie at the level of indicated in your picture A. So ito yung pinakikita, this is the level, okay, which is having this line here in the picture A, no? So this is your lower femur shown, okay? So ang ibig sabihin, if this is your X-ray tube, okay, or this is your X-ray tube, then it must be placed just on top of this area here. So this area here is this one, okay? So that you will be notice that the X-ray beam will pass through the air. The result is a black area on the radiograph, okay? Kaya kung titingnan mo yung mga muscles natin dito, yung muscles of the thigh will be appearing as because it will pass through the air. No, the result is usually black area if it is the air. And then when the X-ray beam strikes the bone, the result will be white. So this bone here will be colored white. And then if the X-ray beam passes through soft tissues, then the result of the imaging is gray appearance on the film. Okay, so please take note of this one. I have already mentioned this on the last slide that the air will be colored black, okay, in the radiographic film image. Bone will be white in color, plus the stone and the metals, and then gray for solid organs and the water density organs. Okay, so this is the different classification that is being seen in any of the radiographic film image of your patient. Okay, so this is just to show you the object film density is air, so it will be the object film density on X-ray film. So if it is air, black, fat, black, bone, white, metal, white, even any stone like which is made up of calcium is also white in color. And then organs, muscles, soft tissues will be appearing as shades of gray in the radiographic film. Okay? Now, please take note of the basic radiographic film densities. Okay, so it's very important to remember that radiographic films, photographic films, and the use of phosphor plates for digital radiography all respond in a similar manner to light and X-ray. Kasi ngayon class, no, hindi na tayo nagde-develop ng film, no? Medyo very modernized na ang radiation or radiographic procedure, wherein dati kasi, no, when I was still studying medicine, no, kami yung nagde-develop ng film. So merong solution, no? There is a X-ray film solution, okay? And then kapag you're going to the dark light, okay, with a red light inside the dark room, remove the X-ray film from the cassette, and then immerse mo siya dun sa solution. Okay? You're going to immerse that radiographic film in the solution. And then after a while, you look at the red light kung na-develop na ang film. Okay? Now, the procedure is not like that anymore. Okay, after removing the radiographic film from the cassette, para siyang may developer, no? May developer na dun sa loob, meron siyang machine. Okay, then you are going to insert to that developer, dun sa machine developer, and then after which, no, the result will be already encoded okay, and will be seen in computers. So nakakonect na yung X-ray machine sa mga computer. Kaya pagdating ng pasyente mo, no, usually hindi mo na ipinakikita yung radiographic film. Doon sa mga very modernized hospital, no. So you don't you don't show anymore the radiographic film, but you are going to show the result in the computer. Kumbaga nakakonect na yung computer sa mga radiographic machine. Okay? So ganoon na ngayon ang style. Hindi gaya nung time namin, no? During our time, no? When we were clerks, dapat pag-rounds every morning, no? Kasi sa government hospital din ako nag-rotate. Kailangan every morning, yung lahat ng procedures, specifically yung mga radiographic film should always be at the bedside of the patient. Dapat nasa bedside na yan ng pasyente. Kung hindi, puro demerit, no? Kunyari, hindi mo na nakuha yung radiographic film ng pasyente, no? Demerit ng demerit yun, no? Ano bang equivalent ng demerit class? For every 3 demerit is equivalent to a 24 hours make-up ng time namin. So kapag meron kang 3 demerit, meron kang make-up na 24 hours. And then, pagka meron ka ng 3 make-up, no, it is already considered a repeat rotation of that kung anong subject yan. Kung surgery yon, no, imagine kung surgery yon, meron ka ng 3 make-up, so ibig sabihin siyam na demerit, no? So imagine mag-repeat ka ng 2 months rotation. Okay? So hindi ka na makagraduate, hindi ka makahabol. Okay? So that is how are you going to take it. Ngayon, madali na, no? Usually, kapag yung mga high class na mga medical center, no, you do not show your patients some of the films because they are being showed in the computer already. Because the X-ray machine are already connected, okay, to the computers. Okay, so there is something what we call computed radiography or what we call the digital radiography. Ito na yung meron tayo ngayon this time class. So these are usually the filmless process of producing digital radiographic image. Ito yung sinasabi ko class, no? Hindi na napaprocess, hindi na the films are no longer being put in a solution, no? The radiographic solution to process the film. No, this time they are filmless already. So instead of film, ano ang meron? We already have the special phosphor plate. Okay, so this is special phosphor plate now is exposed to the X-ray beam. And then how is the image being obtained? So the image information is obtained by scanning the phosphor plate with a laser beam that will cause light to be released from the phosphor plate intensified by the multiplier and will be converted into an electron stream and digitized, and the digital data are converted into an image by the computer. So this is the one I'm telling you, class, no? So all of the procedure now, no, wala nang process of immersing the film in the solution. Okay, which is very toxic, no? Kailangan pagpasok mo doon, yung amoy lang, no? Hindi mo na ma-tolerate yung amoy ng solution, and then it is very toxic, no? Dapat hindi siya madidikit, so you must wear your gloves when you go inside. Okay? So the image now will be converted into an image by computers. So this is what we call the digital radiography. Okay, so remember, class, that there are some special procedure. So this special procedure, class, needs a contrast media or a contrast medium. And how is the contrast medium being given to the patient? This contrast medium could be given intravascularly, but of course, if you are going to introduce it to your patient, okay, intravenously, skin testing is very important. Do not just infuse any contrast medium, okay, intravenously without skin testing. Because remember that these are heavy substances that could destroy the kidney, or the patient could be allergy or have some allergy to this contrast medium. Okay, so if you are going to use some contrast medium, because using the contrast medium will be able to differentiate the normal tissues from the abnormal tissues. Kunyari, no, the patient is hematochezia. Pagka sinabi natin hematochezia, there is a bloody stool, no? So may dugo kapag tumata yung pasyente. So you are now assuming that the patient has maybe cancer of the colon. Okay? So how are you going to do it? It's either you introduce using oral, okay, the patient will take per orem the contrast medium, or you are going to give the contrast medium intravenously. Okay? So pagdating doon sa areas of the colon, okay, na mayroong mass or any mass that will be, because I said you are ruling out that the patient has malignancy of the colon. So you'll be able to see, no, na pagdating dun sa areas or the site of the abnormal, specifically of the colon, kung saan yung tumor, no, the tumor will be able to be visualized. Okay? So using the contrast medium, will be able to differentiate the normal between abnormal tissues. Okay? Also to define vascular anatomy of your patient, and also to improve visualization. Okay? Whether the patient has a tumor or the other structure or organs that need to be seen. So remember, class, that most of the contrast medium, okay, are depend upon bound molecules of iodine. Okay, so it will cause some degree of X-ray absorption. So this is your iodine. So soft tissues like muscles, blood vessels, organs, diseased tissues appear similar on a radiograph. So kunyari may intestinal obstruction, no? Intestinal obstruction, nag-induce ka ng oral barium sulfate. So kung may obstruction, how will you know that there is an obstruction? Okay, the contrast medium will stop. Okay, it will stop and will not be able to proceed forward or going down to the lower segment of the intestine. Okay, so that is, let's for example, you are contemplating that the patient has intestinal tumor, okay, obstructing the intestine, okay. So your contrast medium class is very significant. So as I said, no, the uptake of contrast medium, okay, differentiate, no. The more the uptake of contrast media in a tissue, the whiter it appears. Okay, so this is what we call enhancement. So kunyari, i-compare ka ng pill, ba't hindi halos makita? Bakit hindi halos makita yung sign na mayroong contrast medium kang in-introduce, no? Kasi malabo, no? Malabo yung the contrast medium does not appear well. So maybe anong iisipin mo? You are the requesting physician. So maybe kulang yung ininom ng pasyente, no? The amount of contrast medium given to the patient is not enough. Okay? So as I said, if the uptake, okay, is whiter, okay, than the usual appearance of the tissues, okay, inside the intestine, then it means that there is enhancement caused by the contrast medium. And then as I said, skin testing, okay, should be done first, specifically if you are going to introduce it intravenously, because the patient must have signs of some allergic reaction to the contrast medium. So how will you know that the patient is allergy? If it is skin testing, then the patient could have some vomiting or pain at the injection site. The patient will have some respiratory symptoms like cough, and then urticaria. When you say urticaria, itching, okay, and burning sensation at the site of your skin testing. And then if the patient has signs of allergy, Then there will be appearance, a will appearance, no? Pagka sinabi natin will, W-H-E-A-L, oh, kapag more than 5 centimeters, okay, ang enlarge, no, ng skin testing site, then it means that the patient is allergy. Maski 2 to 3 centimeters wide lang. Okay? So it means that the patient could not accept the intravenous contrast medium. So you cannot introduce to the patient. Okay? And also, class, no, it is very important that if you are the attending physician, always take note of the BUN creatinine of your patient. Is the kidney functioning well? Okay? Is the kidney functioning well? So how would you know that the kidney is functioning well? Before the examination, okay, ask patient for the BUN creatinine determination. If you saw that the BUN creatinine is not normal and the result is very high, then do not give the IV. Okay, in IV contrast medium, okay, because it might fail their kidney. So that is very important, class. Class, are you still with me? Are you still with
Yes
me?
po, Doc. Doc.
Okay. So what are some of the contrast medium? Okay, so iodinated compounds. Where do you use these iodinated compounds? Okay, if you want to request for angiography, myelography, arthrography, when you say arthrography, you want to see the joints of your patient, or when you are see the computed tomography scan of your patient very clearly. So you are going to request for uh, um, the intake, okay, whether IV or oral, okay, of the oral intake of the contrast medium. So in angiography, okay, you are going to inject out to iodinated contrast medium directly to the vein, okay, using an artery or a catheter, okay. So usually it is being pushed through IV fluid, no? So i-stop mo muna sa IV fluid and then introduce the contrast medium intravenously. So that is after a negative skin test. Okay, so arthrography, okay, injection of contrast medium, okay, to the joint, no? Usually, arthrography usually sa mga knee, no, ng pasyente. And then, kapag naman myelography, paano ang introduction ng contrast medium? Is either through spinal or lumbar puncture. So ito yung medyo more difficult if you are going to request for some myelography. Okay, because you are going to introduce the contrast medium by using the lumbar top, okay, or lumbar puncture of your patient. Okay, so that is myelography. Okay, what are some of these contrast medium? Okay, the most commonly used contrast medium is the barium sulfate. So this barium sulfate class is a heavy metal-based compound, okay, that will show the mucosal pattern, okay, of the gastrointestinal tract once you introduce this per orem, okay. So you're going to introduce this per orem. It's either you ask the patient to drink it if the patient is an outpatient patient, okay, or you can insert MGT and introduce the contrast medium by way of your MGT or intestinal tube. Okay, so there are different ways of how are you going to introduce it. Okay, it's either by oral ingestion if your intention is to request from an upper gastrointestinal series. Pagka sinabi nating upper gastrointestinal series, you want to see the shadow from the esophagus up to the duodenum. So it means that from the esophagus, the stomach, and the duodenum. Okay? So pagka nakita mo, no, pag-evaluate mo ng film, no, the film will be taken from 0 minutes, and then 15 minutes, 30 minutes, 45 minutes, and 1 hour. So kunyari, no, you're already suspecting that the film is already at the duodenum of the patient. Okay, so you have already seen the upper GI series of the patient. Okay, so pag lumampas na ng duodenum, okay, it is already called the small bowel series. So kapag small bowel series class, you want to see the lower segments of the intestine after the duodenum, like you want to see the jejunum, the ileum, plus the large intestine, then you are going to add another amount of contrast medium or introduce the medium by way of an enema. Yung ibig sabihin, the contrast medium will be introduced via the anus. So maglalagay ka ngayon ng rectal tube sa pasyente. Okay? So if if the contrast medium is introduced via anus of the patient, then that is already what we call barium enema. So the barium enema class is if you want to see the lower segments, okay, including the large intestines or the colons, okay? So that is barium enema. Now, if the procedure is done only by introducing the contrast medium, then that is what we call the single contrast medium study. But if you introduce air, okay, together with the barium sulfate, then the procedure is what we call double contrast study. Okay? So mag-i-introduce ka ng air dito class. So paano ka mag-i-introduce ng air? It's either via MGT, nasogastric tube, or it's either to the barium tube class or rectal tube. Okay? So mag-i-introduce ka ng ample amount of air. Okay? So that you'll be having a good result of your gastrointestinal tract imaging. Okay? So that is barium sulfate. Okay, so what is fluoroscopic class? Pagka sinabi natin, okay class, at this point, do you have any question or anything to clarify? Huh? Okay, so now, then I will continue. Ano yung fluoroscopic class? So, radiographic visualization of moving anatomic structures. So, it is a continuous X-ray beam passes through the patient and falls on the digital radiographic system. So this is a procedure class that, for example, you want to see the picture of the esophagus, kunyari ang pasyente may difficulty of swallowing. So you are going to request for a chest fluoroscopy. Okay? So in a chest fluoroscopy or fluoroscopy, you're going to monitor the patient, okay, in a television monitor, So nakatingin ka sa TV, sa television monitor, which is connected class, to the patient. And then you are going to observe how is the contrast medium habang bumababa as it passes to the esophagus of your patient until it reaches the stomach. Okay, so that is what we call the chest or the fluoroscopic examination. Okay, so there is an observation, okay, by using the television monitor. So in this procedure, as I said, the patient is advised to swallow the contrast medium, and then how will it be brought towards and pass through the esophagus until it reaches the stomach. So that is what we call class the peristaltic movement. Okay, peristaltic movement of your contrast medium through the contraction of the smooth muscles of the esophagus. Bakit mo may peristalsis class? Peristalsis is due to the contraction of the smooth muscles of the esophagus. Kaya meron siyang wavy contraction, which is what we call peristalsis. Okay? Plus the cardiac action and catheter placement. So that is your fluoroscopy. Basta nag-observe class ng procedure looking at the television monitor. Okay? And then with the contrast medium taken by the patient. So, i-observe mo ngayon how the passage of the contact medium from the upper, lower, and middle third of your esophagus. Specifically, kung ang pasyente ay may problem of dysphagia or difficulty of swallowing. Okay, so when we say cross-sectional imaging technique class, kunyari, meron tayong cross anatomy, no? Cross anatomy of the chest. Then ano ito mga cross-sectional anatomy imaging? So this is your computed tomography scan or the magnetic resonance imaging or ultrasound. So these are the three cross-sectional imaging techniques which are usually discussed separately, class. No, it is discussed separately. But since in your study and the constellation class, no, instead of separating radioanatomy, because before, no, radioanatomy is a separate subject. It is a separate subject, which is pattern whatever on whatever subject, kunya or region. Let's say, for example, okay, upper extremity or anatomy of the or region of the upper limb. So yung lahat ng after the discussion of the basic radiography of the upper extremity, then the second session will be about different imaging, okay, of the upper extremity. So dito na ipakikita yung CT scan, magnetic resonance, or kung meron kang request na ultrasound. Okay? So specifically, this is very important class in the chest, no? Cross-sectional anatomy of the chest. So kapag sinabing cross-sectional anatomy of the chest, it is all about the CT scan, magnetic resonance, or ultrasound of the chest kung meron. Okay? So all of these three imaging modalities, the CT scan, MRI, and ultrasound, use three-dimensional volume or slice of patient's body. So pagka sinabi natin slice, nakakita na ba kayo class ng radiographic film ng MRI or CT scan? Nakakita na ba kayo? Sinong hindi pa nakakita? What do you observe? Anong nakita ninyo kapag CT scan film or MRI film? You would see small squares of the, if it is a chest, no? So it is depending on the request, how much slices per, okay, per CT scan you want to see. Kunyari, ang request mo, the distance of one slice to another is 10 millimeter. So for every 10 millimeter of that chest measured by the machine will be shown in the small box or the small square of the CT scan field, whether it is CT scan or MRI. So it will be depending on how many millimeters or the distance between each slices of the human body. Specifically, no, kapag CT scan class ng brain, usually the slices becomes thinner. Kunyari 5 millimeters. So ibig sabihin, for every 5 millimeters of the brain is the distance from one CT scan film to another CT scan film, because there are some brain tumors which are very small. Okay, they are very small brain tumor, but they are very severe type, no, or they are those type of malignancy that could spread fastly. Okay, yung mabilis kumalat na mga brain tumors. So the slice of the patient's body will be depending on your request. Usually, the common class is 10 millimeter in between. So, 10 millimeter ang distance ng one slice to another slice of the human body. Okay? So, that is how we're going to look at the cross-sectional imaging techniques. Okay, so if you are dealing with a computed tomography scan, so this is the it involves sectional anatomy imaging or anatomy in the sagittal, coronal, and eggshell. Okay, eggshell sectioning. Class, always remember, no, that in your tawag dito, anatomy in motion, no, di ba? What are some of the three or four major type of your anatomical plane, no? So we have the median, coronal, sagittal, and the transverse. No, yan yung apat. Remember, class, that in radiology, you do not use the word or you do not use the term transverse plane, but you are going to refer the transverse plane as axial or cross-sectional. Okay? So that is when you want or you opted to see the body, okay, having an upper or a superior and a lower or an inferior part of the human body, which is in anatomical plane or in gross anatomy is called transverse. But in radiology, you don't call it transverse plane. It is referred to as axial plane. Okay? So please take note of that one, class. So that's why you cannot see usually the transverse plane in radiology, but instead you will see axial. So this is for computed tomography scan. So this is an example of the CT machine, CT scan machine. Okay, so this is what we call the computerized axial tomography scan technique or machine, wherein the CT scan machine was developed in early 1970s. Okay, so take a look at the different parts. So this is your X-ray tube, gantry, opening. Dito papasok at lalabas ang patient, and then this is the patient couch. So ang dami na ngayong class na mga iba-iba different classes of CT scan and MRI machine, no? Meron pang mga machine na talagang umiikot, no? Umiikot silang ganyan. Okay. So the first among the CT scan machine was introduced in the early 1970s. Okay, so remember, class, that like your radiographic imaging procedure, both CT scan and radiographic imaging procedure, the patient is exposed to high density of radiation. So that's why kapag ang pasyente is at an early stage of pregnancy, like for example, the patient in the first trimestral period, no? Kung talagang very necessary ang CT scan sa patient, then the patient needs to have the lead, okay? The patient must have a lead apron, okay, to protect the fetus inside of her womb. Okay, so in CT scan imaging, the CT images are produced with a combination of X-ray, computers, and detectors. So this is part of your CT scan. So there is a computer-controlled couch, transfers the patient to the opening in the scanner house, and then you have the X-ray tube, which is found at the housing gantry. This will rotate around the patient, and each anatomic slice to be imaged is exposed to a pencil-thin X-ray beam. Okay? So thickness of axial imaging or images or slices can vary from 1 millimeter to 10 millimeter. It will be depending on your request. If you are the attending physician, no, and you requested for a CT scan, then you are going to put in your request 10 millimeter slices. Okay, so that the technician, okay, will use the 10 millimeter per slices of your patient. So that is your computed tomography. Okay, what are the indications? No, usually, class, kailan mo ba nire-request ang CT scan? If it is more on a bony, okay, bony projections, okay, or like for example, no, sabi ko nga sa inyo kanina, kunyari may dumating kang pasyente, and then you are assuming that the patient has fracture, okay, the patient could not move, okay, the extremity. So, your first assumption is the patient has fracture. But ano nangyari? Bakit hindi mo makita ang fracture? So, if it is about bony detail, okay, if it is about bony detail, then the most specific radio or imaging procedure after the initial radiographic film is the CT scan. Okay? Kapag body detail. Okay? If the patient, kunyari, basketball player, no? And you are suspecting that the patient has ligament tear, okay, or any soft tissue injury, no? Like ligament tear, then what you are going to request, okay? It is preferable to request magnetic resonance imaging, okay? So please take note, if it is something about body details of the patient, yung bone ang problema, then CT scan is the most preferred imaging modality. Okay, soft tissue injury, magnetic resonance imaging. Okay, so what are some of the indications of your computed tomography scan? Trauma, okay, with vehicular accident, as I said, you suspected a fracture, but pagdating ng radiographic film, asan ang fracture? Wala kang makita. Okay? Then, you are going to request for CT scan. Okay? Body detail. No, it's better to use CT scan than MRI. Okay, the patient most likely has intracranial hemorrhage. Okay? Or abdominal injury, specifically if you think that the organs are involved, like the liver. Okay, so CT scan is indicated. Fracture detection, yung sinasabi ko kanina class, no? Nag-request ka ng radiographic film, PA view, okay? Pero wala kang makitang fracture. So how are you going to confirm that there might be a fracture? So you request for a CT scan. Spine alignment, okay? Remember that vertebral spine or the vertebral column are bony structures. Okay? Detection of foreign bodies, okay? Diagnosis of the primary and secondary neoplasms. Like for example, in the liver, kidney, brain, lung, and the bone. And then when you stage tumor. Kunyari ang pasyente, mayroon siyang cancer, no? Malignancy anywhere. Okay? Then if you want to do some tumor staging to look whether what stage is malignancy of the patient, is the patient could still respond to any surgical procedure. Kunyari, cancer of the colon, you want to know some tumor or TNM stage G, stage 1, stage 2, stage 3, and stage 4. Okay? Remember class that kapag stage 4 na yung malignancy ng patient, you don't do any very invasive procedure anymore. Kaya ba nalalaman na stage 4 class, no? Kaya nagiging stage 4 kapag meron na siyang distant metastasis. Okay? So kung meron na siyang distant metastasis, kunyari cancer of the ovary, tapos ang pasyente meron ng bronchogenic cancer or cancer of the lungs, no? So hindi mo na kailangang tanggalin pa si ovary. Kasi kumalat na siya, so it will be useless. Okay? So usually do some invasive procedure, specifically kung stage 1 and then stage 2. Okay? Of the tumor classification. So these are the indications for CT scan. Okay, so there are different types or modification of your CT scan. The first one is helical or spiral. Okay, so kapag spiral and helical, what is the movement of your patient? The patient is lying down on the CT scan couch, no? And then, if you're going to see, iikot yung X-ray tube, encircling the patient. And then, the patient will be moving, okay, papasok, okay? Kaya nga yung arrow class, no? So, the patient will be heading and be forwarded inside of the gantry. Okay, X-ray tube gantry of your CT scan. And then, itong mga slices na ito, class, will be depending on yung kung ano yung slices ang gusto mo. Pwede bang 5mm slice, 10mm slice. Okay? So, every slice, the patient will move going forward or going to the head part. After the next slide, gagalaw na naman ang pasyente, mag-move forward. Okay? So, yan yung the beam, okay, with the gantry will be moving continuously encircling the patient. Every after slices of your request, the patient will move okay, head part or headwise. So that is helical or spiral CT scan. Next is multi-slice or dynamic. Okay, so CT, computed tomography, multi-slice dynamic procedure. So in this type of CT scan class, the patient or the procedure has multiple contiguous rows of detectors. So there will be some yielding of multiple tomographic slices, okay, with only one rotation, okay, around the patient. So isang rotation lang ng pasyente but it will produce several tomographic slices, okay? So there can be many detector rings in one CT unit resulting in multiple images slices of 15 centimeter per segment of the human body, okay? So this multi-slice dynamic computed tomography scan is very beneficial for CT scan or CT or computed angiography. No, yung mga vessels, if you want to see the different vessels, specifically yung heart, no? So this is very ang tawag dito, this is a very significant procedure. Okay? CT scan angiography. So what are the advantages of the multi-slice dynamic CT scan procedure? It is static, like you are watching a movie, okay, movie images. This procedure is non-invasive, rapid filming result, and good spatial, okay, spatial result. Okay, but what is the disadvantage? This procedure class is very expensive. So if you are the attending physician of the patient, you want to request kasi nga, CT angiography ng heart, kunyari cardiologist ka. So tatanong mo sa pasyente, okay lang po ba na mag-request ako ng multi-slice computed tomography dynamic CT scan? Kasi po I need to see the status of your vessels in your heart. No? Pag sinabi ng pasyente, hindi ko po kaya, Doc, huwag siyang pipilitin. Baka the patient hindi siya makabayad. Matitingga yung pasyente sa hospital, hindi siya basta-basta makakalabas. Okay? So you need to, that is one of the very important things that you need to take note when you are having patients already. Okay, magnetic resonance imaging. So method for displaying anatomy in the axial, sagittal, and the coronal planes. Okay, so the slices, if it is MRI class, could also be between 1 and 10 millimeter. So this is good for coronal and sagittal imaging, okay? And axial imaging is the forte of your CT scan. Yung kasing axial class, kunyari gusto mong makita yung transverse section, wala nang transverse section kapag CT scan. So, you want to see the axial slices in your patient. Then, anong sabi dito? Kapag axial imaging procedure or projection, it is more of the CT scan. So, yung magnetic resonance class is good for coronal and sagittal imaging. Kaya nga usually class, di ba, makikita mo yung magnetic resonance plate, diba? It is sagittal. Okay? So, sabi nila, sagittal or magnetic resonance is more accurate kasi nga the slices is sagittal or median or coronal, I should say. Kaya nga lang, magnetic resonance has the advantage of it could detect small changes with soft tissues. And if you are dealing, as I said, with soft tissue injury of your patient, then it is better to request magnetic resonance, okay, than that of the CT imaging procedure or radiographic technique. Okay? So please take note on this class. And I want to tell you that magnetic resonance, like ultrasound, you do not expose your patient to radiation. Kaya pag buntis ang pasyente, it's better to request radiation. Magnetic resonance. But I tell you, MRI is more expensive than CT scan. Okay? Basta meron ka namang lead support or lead protection of the pregnant mother, no? So you could request anytime the um, CT scan of the patient. Okay? Depending on the necessity kung alin ba dapat mong request. Okay, so this is an example of the magnetic resonance procedure. As I said, no, sa MRI and ultrasound, you don't expose your patient to radiation. No, patient exposed to external magnetic fields and radio frequency waves. So the patients in MRI and ultrasound are not exposed to radiation. Unlike when it is X-ray or radiographic modality, okay, and CT scan, the patients are exposed to radiation. Okay, so please take note on that. Okay, advantages of your MRI, okay, or like your CT scan, para kang nanonood ng sine, okay, you could engage patient for some multiple plane images, good contrast, kumbaga yung false positive, pagka sinabi natin false positive class, parang normal ang tingin mo, pero actually may problema pala yung film. Okay? So no known health hazard kasi no exposure to radiation. And as I said, MRI is good for soft tissue injuries. Okay? Yung mga ligament tear, wounds, whether it is the knee, in the leg, the elbow, in the shoulder joint. Okay? Disadvantages, more expensive, and usually scanning result to claustrophobia and motion artifacts. So, maraming artifacts class kapag MRI, no? Parang may nakikita kang mga artifacts na akala mo part ng pasyente, yung pala artifacts lang siya. Okay? And usually kasi papasok talaga yung pasyente to the whole machine. So, mayroong mga pasyente na takot sa mga closed area, no? Takot pumasok sa loob, no? Kasi nga meron siyang claustrophobia. So these are some of the disadvantages. Okay, contraindications. Okay, so we are contemplating the patient has cerebral aneurysm. Okay, nag-undergo siya ng pacemaker or operation or bypass. Meron siyang inner implant or metallic foreign bodies. So kapag may mga metal ang pasyente, kunyari fracture, nag-ORIF, no, hindi ka pwede mag-request ng MRI. Okay, so there are different types of your MRI. Number one is magnetic resonance angiography. So kapag nakita ka ng ganitong itsura ng film, okay, you are in picture A, you have the MRA of the circle of Willis, no? So this is the normal one. And then picture B, MRA of the coronal image of the carotid arteries, no? So yan yung ating mga carotid arteries sa leeg. So this is a special non-interventional study, okay, that can image or show image without of vessels without using needles, catheters, or iodinated contrast medium. So this is your MRA. Next, functional magnetic resonance imaging. So if you want to see and assess the brain of your patient, the patient had history of cerebrovascular disease, no? Class, by the way, class, you do not address, since you're already a medical student, no? So kapag nakakita ka ng pasyente na stroke, hindi mo na, dahil medical student ka na, do not just address it as stroke, no? Address it as cerebrovascular disease. Okay? So hindi na stroke. Ang stroke kasi pang layman's term. Okay, so gusto mong i-assess, you want to assess the brain in the function of the heart of your patient, whether there are some form of deoxygenation, okay, of your patient, then your functional magnetic resonance is very useful, no? So makikita mo ngayon dito which part of the brain where this deoxygenated, yung nag-hypoxia ang pasyente. Okay, so you request for functional magnetic resonance imaging. So this is also very good for cognitive tests and use in normal controls to study how the brain functions has been used, okay, for pre-surgical planning. Okay, kunyari, no, magkikraniotomy ka, magkakraniotomy ka, no, or any open heart surgery, no. So, alin kayang part ng heart ang may necrosis, no? Yun yung myocardial infarction. Okay? So, siyempre, the cardiovascular surgeons need to plan ano bang procedure ang gagawin natin. Okay? What procedure are we going to do? Okay? So, yun, kailangan ng functional magnetic resonance imaging. Number 3, functional cardiac magnetic resonance imaging. So, this is, let's say, for example, you need to take note of the measure of the left ventricle volume and the ejection fraction. Okay? Remember that heartbeat or cardiac construction is specifically done, most specifically by the left ventricle. Okay? So you want to see the ejection fraction of blood, okay, given by the left ventricle to assess the function of the heart. Then you are going to request the functional cardiac magnetic resonance imaging. Okay, another one, the diffusion weighted imaging magnetic resonance technique, or the DWI-MR. So this is specifically very important in a patient, no, who is maybe suffering from any cellular injuries. Okay, cellular injuries. Okay, so in here you'll be able to determine the abnormal motion of water molecules in the brain. So kanya ang itsura class ng DWI-MR, no? Kumbaga mga high-grade procedure itong ganito, no? Pang higher radiology, but just the same, just to give you the different types of your MRI. Okay? So this is usually done for the detection of additional loss and defacing signal of the water molecules diffuse in the brain. Okay? So this is a brain class, no? Picture yan ng brain. Okay? So this is WIMR. Okay? So another picture of your diffusion tensor analysis of diffusion weighted images yan. May very colorful siya, no? So you will see here the fractional anisotropy image. Okay, so you will see color-coded based on the primary direction of water motion. Okay, so this just to show you the picture, not necessarily no the red left to right or right to left green, no, just to show you the picture. Okay, so that you know your DWIR-IMR procedure. Okay, so another one is the determination of the fiber tracts generated from the diffusion weighted images between the cerebellum and the thalamus. Yan ang thalamus, no? And then your cerebellum. Okay? So if you want to see, no, paano ba yung pathways from the thalamus going to the cerebellum? Okay? So we'll be able to determine the fiber tracts. Okay? So that is your DW, okay, technique, DWI-MR technique. Okay, susceptibility weighted magnetic resonance imaging. So pagka ganito class ang itsura, SWI, no? So maybe the patient's head has head trauma, no? So you are suspecting some form of brain injury. Okay, so you will see here the venous vascular. Yung mga maiitim ng lines dyan, class, is the venous, okay, venous vasculature. Okay, wherein they are oxygenated. Okay, na de-oxygenate, kulang sa air na pumasok or oxygen. So it could also some dark microbleed lesion appears on the left thalamus. Can you see? Yan, ito yung left thalamus. Okay? So yan yung ating microbleed sa thalamus, okay, resulting from the traumatic brain injury. Okay, so that is your number 5, susceptibility weighted magnetic resonance imaging. Okay, magnetic resonance spectroscopy. So if you want to evaluate the metabolic concentrations in the body, okay, so the study is about knowing the signal from the protons contained within water is suppressed and the protons in various metabolites such as your NAA, choline, creatinine, and lactate. Okay, so you'll be able to detect all of this component, no, if you are going to request for a magnetic resonance spectroscopy. Okay, so ito yun, no? Kita nyo. So this the patient has tumor. So in your picture A, this is an anatomical T1 weighted image showing tumor, okay, of the brain. Okay, and then yung B is the graph of metabolite concentration, no? So these are your metabolite concentration. So if you're going to look, no, doon sa graph, meron siyang increased choline. Yan, choline yan. Can you see? So that is an increased choline. And a reduced, no, N-acetyl aspartate. Okay? So this is one of the MRF study to find some brain tumors. Okay, so we are already in the last, no, ano bang oras ng class? No, I will just give you a break after this, 10 minutes break, and then we will go to the upper extremity. Yung upper extremity class, marami lang talaga siyang slides kasi nga we are going to review some anatomy, but we don't need necessarily to go on the anatomy extensively because some of them were already lectured yesterday. So we are already in the ultrasound. So ultrasound class is a diagnostic imaging tool that is non-invasive. I told you, ultrasound does not use X-rays or radiation. Okay, so radiation is very safe. Kaya nga class, the favorite imaging modality of obstetricians and gynecologists is ultrasound. No, they don't usually use CT scan, and they could request MRI over CT scan, no? Kasi nga ang MRI walang radiation exposure, so safe ang pregnant mother, yung kanilang fetus or their fetus inside their womb. A class, by the way, no? When you're addressing the fetus inside, no? Kapag habang ang fetus is still inside the mother's womb, no, you call it fetus. No, huwag mong sasabihin na, ay, ang laki na ng baby mo sa tiyan mo. No, it's not appropriate. Dapat fetus. Kailan mo lang siya i-address na baby or newborn? Pag lumabas na. Okay? So kapag lumabas na ang product of fertilization, no? So kapag nasa loob pa, fetus, ha? Masi yan 9 months na or 8 months old. Fetus, still fetus. Pag lumabas, saka mo pa lang siya i-address na baby or newborn. Or a neonate kung 28 days. Okay? So, ultrasound is very useful, very fast, painless, relatively inexpensive as compared to CT scan and magnetic resonance imaging. Okay? So, it could produce sectional anatomy images or slices in multiple planes. Okay? And then, it emits high-frequency sound waves from 1 to 10 megahertz, whose frequencies are considerably above human's ear audible range of 20 to 21 hertz. Okay? So that is ultrasound. So if you have a patient, no, gusto mong makita yung solid organ, liver, kidney, spleen, okay, then request ultrasound. Kaya nga class, kapag ang pasyente, kunyari, you are ruling out stone of the gallbladder or a tumor of the liver, So usually, after the initial plain supine or the plain initial plain abdominal radiography, no, ang isusunod mo na is if you want to see the liver or the kidney or gallbladder stone, is usually CT, ultrasound. Okay? So pagka nakita na ng ultrasound, no, it could also and evaluate some fluid-filled organs like the urinary bladder, no? 'Di ba sabi natin, the urinary bladder is a water density organ, specifically kapag puno na yung urinary bladder. Okay, 'di ba? Ano yung procedure? Kunyari, nag-request ka ng KUB, kidney, ureter, and bladder. Okay, bladder ultrasound. So anong unang instruction ng technician? Okay, please drink 2 bottles of water. Okay. And then pag po naiihi na kayo, no, pakitawag po or pasok na po kayo kung available yung room. Okay. Specifically kung ang uterus ang i-examine, no. So kapag puno yung urinary bladder, you could easily differentiate alin ang uterus, alin ang urinary bladder. Kasi kapag empty ang urinary bladder, hindi mo basta-basta mai-differentiate ang uterus from the urinary bladder. Okay? So yun yung mga reasons, no? Bakit kaya magpapa-ultrasound lang ako, kailangan pang uminom ako ng tubig, no? So that is the main reason, class. Specifically if it is a pregnant mother. Gustong makita ng obstetrician kung gaano kalaki na yung image o yung fetus. Okay, sa loob. Okay, so the bladder must be filled with water. Dapat puno siya ng ihi. Or you want to see some cyst. Remember, kapag sinabi nating cyst, class, ito yung cystic, ito yung may fluid sa loob, no? Ng mass, no? That is a cystic. Na ang laman kapag pinuncture mo yung cyst is like mucus fluid, no? Yan, tumors, gallbladder, pleural effusions. Kapag may pleural effusion ka, pwede rin i-request ng ultrasound. Ascites, okay? So these are some of the advantages of where in organs where you could request for ultrasound. Okay? So advantages, multiple plane imaging, safe, painless, less expensive than CT and MRI, and it is portable. Okay? But disadvantages, kailangang skilled yung ultrasonologist. Okay? Pag hindi kasi skilled yung ultrasonologist, parang sayang lang. Not good for bone and lung imaging. Okay? So kapag ang problema meron kang bronchogenic carcinoma, you don't need to request for ultrasound. Punta ka na kaagad sa CT scan. Okay? Or nabalian ng buto, no? You don't need to request for ultrasound. O CT scan ka kaagad after the initial, okay, radiographic field procedure. Okay, so this is your ultrasound machine or ultrasound unit plus the ultrasonographer and the patient. Okay, so this is your transducer. So the transducer here is the one, ito yung ginagalaw, no, na nilalagyan ka pa ng gel, okay, over that over the area. Okay, and then meron siyang doon sa machine, merong iniikot-ikot to adjust, no? Technical adjustment on the ultrasound unit with the left hand. So, kunyari, you are going to see the ultrasound of the liver. You request ultrasound of the liver. So, this is the transducer on top of the liver. And then the transducer will broadcast short bursts of high-frequency sound, okay, into the liver. Okay? So, yan yung, so this is the emitted sound waves coming from the transducer. So, this is the organ, and then you have the reflected sound waves, okay? And then, scattered sound wave that will show the entire liver, okay? So, yan yung ating ultrasound. So, I think this is the last of the slide of the basic. Okay. So do you have any question, class, about or something that you need to understand more when it comes to basic radiology? Class, anything that you need to clarify before I give you a 10 minutes break? Huh? Were you able to understand the basic radiology? Class, ang trend ngayon ng mga graduate is to go to nuclear, no? Nuclear study, lalo yung mga nagtatap sa board, no? Yung mga gumagraduate ng cum laude, magna cum laude, no? They prefer going to research, no? And that is nuclear study. Kasi sabi nila, at your current age, no, di ba, we are more on the digitalization of everything. No? So lahat, usually mga matatalinong estudyante or graduate of medicine are going into nuclear research. So do you have any class, anything want to clarify before we go to radioanatomy? So it's already 2:46. So I'll give you do you want at 3 p.m.? We meet again at 3 p.m. for radioanatomy of the upper limb. Now, as I said, medyo maraming slides, no? It's more than 100 slides. But kasi sa isang slide, konti-konti lang yung mga text. Okay, mga context. It's more of and some of the topics, no, were already discussed